Donald Trump has marked his first full day in office by announcing that he has a running war with the media. The remarks were made during a speech at the CIA headquarters in Virginia, where the new president described some members of the press as the most dishonest people on earth. He also accused the media of making it sound like he had a feud with the intelligence community and of publishing misleading information about the number of people who attended his inauguration ceremony on Friday. Here's a little of what he had to say.
The reason you're my first stop is that, as you know, I have a running war with the media. They are among the most dishonest human beings on earth. What? And they sort of made it sound like I had a feud with the intelligence community. And I just want to let you know, the reason you're number one stop, it is exactly the opposite. Exactly. And they understand that, too. And I was explaining about the numbers. We did a thing yesterday, the speech. Did everybody like the speech? You had to like it. Right? So I've been given good reviews. But we had a massive field of people. You saw that. Packed. I get up this morning, I turn on one of the networks, and they show an empty field. I said, wait a minute. I made a speech. I looked out. The field it looked like 1 million and a half people. They showed a field where there were practically nobody standing there.
President Trump, well, a little over 2 hours after Mr. Trump made that speech at the CIA headquarters, the new White House press secretary, Sean Spicer, gave his first press briefing. He was also highly critical of some media organisations of the way he felt they had misrepresented the number of people who'd attended Friday's inauguration ceremony.
No one had numbers because the National Park Service, which controls the National Mall, does not put any out. By the way, this applies to any attempts to try to count the number of protesters today in the same fashion. We do know a few things, so let's go through the facts. We know that from the platform where the president was sworn in to 4th Street holds about 250,000 people. From 4th Street to the media tent is about another 220,000. And from the media tent to the Washington Monument, another 250,000 people. All of this space was full when the president took the oath of office. We know that 420,000 people used the D.C. Metro public transit yesterday, which actually compares to 317,000 that used it for President Obama's last inaugural. This was the largest audience to ever witness an inauguration, period, both in person and around the globe. Even the New York Times printed a photograph showing that a misrepresentation of the crowd in the original tweet in their paper, which showed the full extent of the support, depth, and crowd and intensity that existed. These attempts to lessen the enthusiasm of the inauguration are shameful and wrong. The president was also at the Central, as you know, the president was at the Central Intelligence Agency today and greeted by a raucous overflow crowd of some 400 plus CIA employees. There were over 1,000 requests to attend, prompting the president to note that he'll have to come back to greet the rest. The employees were ecstatic that he's the new commander-in-chief, and he delivered them a powerful and important message. He told them he has their back, and they were grateful for that. They gave him a 5-minute standing ovation at the end in a display of their patriotism and their enthusiasm for his presidency. I'd also note that it's a shame that the CIA didn't have a CIA director to be with him today when he visited, because the Democrats have chosen, Senate Democrats are stalling the nomination of Mike Pompeo and playing politics with national security. That's what you guys should be writing and covering. That this, instead of sowing division about tweets and false narratives, the president is committed to unifying our country, and that was the focus of his inaugural address. This kind of dishonesty in the media, the challenging that bringing about our nation together is making it more difficult. There's been a lot of talk in the media about the responsibility to hold Donald Trump accountable. And I'm here to tell you that it goes 2 ways. We're going to hold the press accountable as well. The American people deserve better, and as long as he serves as the messenger for this incredible movement, he will take his message directly to the American people, where his focus will always be.
Well, that was the new White House press secretary, Sean Spicer. Perhaps unusually, as you see here, Mr. Spicer ended his news conference without taking any questions from any of the journalists present.
bigger than Trump's inaugural?
As you see, he simply said goodbye and walked off stage. Well, until Mr. Spicer's news conference, there had been no official figure for the number of people who did attend Friday's inauguration. But we have been able to make a comparison with the numbers of people who attended a huge march in Washington on Saturday to protest against some of Mr. Trump's policies. This was the scene just a few hours ago near the Capitol building. The demonstration's organisers say they weren't able to march as planned past the White House because the streets were just too crowded. And this is the same location on Friday, shortly before Mr. Trump took to the platform outside the Capitol building to take the presidential oath of office. Well, the angle is slightly different, but it does appear to show far fewer people there. Well, that march in Washington was just one of dozens held in America and many more around the world in a huge global show of defiance against Donald Trump's presidency. As we've said, there have been no official figures on how many attended in the Capitol, but it's being reported that as many as 750,000 people are currently taking part in a similar march in Los Angeles. Our correspondent Katie Kay spent the day with the protesters in Washington, D.C. and sent this report.
They came in their thousands. Children, men and women. Lots of women.
I came from Hawaii to be here today, and I'm here to represent